Good part of the day, my dear digital friends. Today is April the 1st, and it's the beginning of the new spring month. So it is 10 a.m. Eastern Time here in Florida. And I am here to begin our lesson for people who stutter. And today we are going to have a conversation with those who still stutter. I don't know why the title hasn't changed. I actually didn't want this title. Let me see if I can change it. Yeah, I'm going to teach your child to speak without stuttering. This is what I want. Copy. Okay, I don't know why it hasn't changed here. Let me check on Instagram. Edit. Teach your child. Okay, it works. And what about this? Edit. Yeah, but for some reason it hasn't changed here. I don't know how to edit it. But anyway, so the title of today's lesson is how parents or any other family members can help a child who stutters. This is today's topic because this is my biggest dream, to begin helping people who stutter not when they are already adults, when they have developed a lot of psychological layers, when the system has made them believe too many lies. And yes, it is really difficult to fix it when you believe things that do not resonate with reality. This is why I truly want to begin helping people when they're young and when the influence of the system is just beginning. So I am here to explain to any family member. I mean, I'm talking about adults, of course, adult family member. Most of the time, of course, it is the parents. You are the only ones who can change your child's future, who can change your child's life. You are the only one. Because who loves your child more than you? Who knows your child more than you do? You are the only one who can learn what does it mean to speak normally without stuttering. And you're the only one who can become a perfect role model for your child. And while I'm still waiting for people to join us, I want to indicate, to point to the background. I finally ordered this little canvas and put it on the wall. So whenever I do my live stream, people could see the main symbol of all speakers on the planet. I mean, I understand it. This is why I call it a symbol. This is very symbolic. This picture of three parrots communicating is very symbolic. Let me move here closer to this picture. I want you to understand clearly what I am talking about. Okay, guys, let me know if you can hear me well, because I kind of moved away from the microphone now. So the bottom line is, when you were born just like these parrots. You didn't know what to do to speak. But just like these parrots, you started listening and observing people around you speak. And you simply imitated the behavior of people around you. This is called the natural law of resonance. There is nothing else works. Nothing else. This is a natural law of resonance. People learn to speak just like these three parrots. Do you see? I chose specific pictures where parrots, you can see that they also have a mouth. Inside of their mouth, they also have a tongue. Yes, they speak with their tongue. You are just like these parrots. Do you think that parrots are smarter than you? Of course not. They are not smarter than human beings. We are smart. We know how things work, right? We know whenever we say the word we know, whatever we want to say and what every word means. We know that, right? Okay, let me fix whatever you can see on Instagram now. Okay, I'm going to hold my microphone. Hopefully, you can see me and hear me well. So, the bottom line, the reason I added this picture to this live stream, see, I'm holding the microphone. I'm not sure you can hear me well. The reason is simple. People who stutter are not sick. People who stutter can speak. No problem. You can also speak, but you gotta understand that speaking is the result of the law of resonance. How does it happen? Very simple. A child listens to the way we speak. The child observes the way we use our body to produce words, and children begin imitating. No different than these parrots that you see. So, just like parrots, we also learn to use our tongue to produce words. And it doesn't matter how many years you've been stuttering, it really doesn't matter. You gotta understand that whenever you are using your perfect speech instrument, your tongue, the container with air, your mind, your memory, whatever, whenever you use all these perfect parts of your body, mind, computer in the way how everyone else is doing, and even parents are doing it in the same way. Whenever you are doing in the same way, guess what? You begin speaking totally normally because you are normal. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. Nothing. If you still believe that you may be sick, that whatever you hear from the system, from the specialists that have been trained by the system, and if you still believe that, then guess what? This is the main reason why you're still struggling. This is the main reason. Okay. Hi, Harsh. Good to see you here. I am trying to get the picture of my parrots here. This is why I didn't put it in the right place. I guess I needed to put it a little bit kind of this way. I'll redo it for the next live stream. But anyway, do you see these parrots? They are should be the symbol for each and every speech professional. Whenever we teach, we help children to fix any of their speaking mistakes. We need to have this symbol on the wall because this is how normally children learn to speak, not in any other way. Nothing else. Whatever people people who stutter attempt to do with other parts of their body, their eyebrows, their hands, their whatever, any part of their body they use other than the tongue is absolutely useless. It's the way to destroy the natural speech balance. Harsh, if you have any questions, go ahead and type it in. But if you don't, I will continue talking to myself. It's not like I cannot do that. But of course, in order to turn me on, you have to ask questions. And the biggest problem of all people who stutter is that they are afraid to ask questions. They truly are afraid of that. And I am encouraging you to become brave to ask questions. Because as I like to say, that stupid questions don't exist. Okay, let me wave to all of the people on Instagram. Okay, so people on Instagram, let me explain to you what I've been doing. I am showing to you the screen of my computer because this is where I can share with you all the information that I want to show to you. This is the idea I just got. So you do not look at me, you look at my computer screen. Okay? So in this way, you see what I am showing to my digital students, not only on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook, but I'm showing this information to Instagram people as well. Okay, so no more questions. Let me continue then. Okay, so we will talk about the way parents raise their children. And I have a question for those parents. Have you been to speech therapy? I'm sure you've been to school speech therapy. You've been to all kinds of private clinics. You could have even tried the various speech specialists online, or some people who claim that they are former stutterers. You could have tried all kinds of courses. You could have watched all kinds of YouTube video advisors. You've tried many, many things, but nothing has worked so far. Why? I think it's time you begin to ask yourself questions. Why? I've paid for speech therapy, like fancy schmancy speech therapist. My child has been to many types of speech therapists. I've tried all kinds of advice. I've tried all kinds of recommendations. I've done everything that they advise, but my child is still struggling to speak without mistakes. Why? I have a simple answer for you. The answer is, the answer may shock you, because the main reason your child is still struggling, you are still confused about what stuttering is, why my child doesn't get any better, or if he does, it's very temporarily. It's like today, my child speaks better, but tomorrow everything comes back, and maybe even children are laughing at my child. And my child comes home from school and maybe he is crying. Why are they laughing at me? I'm not going to speak anymore. I'm sick and tired. I'm not going to talk to these children. I'm not going to talk to anybody anymore. Has it happened to you? Has it happened to your child? This is so important. So here is the answer to all your questions. This is the most important question. Your child and your whole family is still struggling because you still believe the systemic misinformation, systemic lies that you've heard from everywhere. Everywhere. From the speech therapist that your child goes to, from YouTube videos, from all kinds of stuttering associations, from all kinds of scientists, linguists, speech professionals, medical professionals, everyone who has been trained, who has been through the systemic educational establishments, universities, medical schools, everything that has been supported financially and, of course, informationally by the system, the bureaucratic machine in our society. This is the main problem because this is the reason you still struggle. Why? I'm going to put the microphone on the table because it's kind of heavy and I am sick and tired of holding it, and I'll continue our conversation. Okay, so I'm going to do this way. So the bottom line is I'm going to start sharing my screen and I'm going to stop running the videos on the background. Okay, here is my background and where is... Okay, that's where I'm at now. So let's begin our conversation now. If you are a parent who has a child still struggling with speaking, let me simply explain to you, what does it mean to speak? This is very important to understand. Let me see if I can do maybe like this. No, like this. Yeah. So what I'm doing, I'm running on the background, I'm running my hundreds and hundreds of YouTube videos that I have created over the past 10 years of my career as a standard speech educator. Yes, I'm no longer a speech therapist. I used to be, but I'm no longer a speech therapist, speech pathologist. I'm no longer a speech professional, speech specialist with the system, with the government. I do follow all the government regulations in terms of paying for everything, right? Like all small businesses are paying a lot of money for being able to work. But what I am doing, I am teaching people of different ages how to speak without making mistakes, how to speak perfectly, clearly, and how to begin doing it in only few days. Only a few days. Sometimes it takes even 1 day, 6 hours of my time. When parents begin to understand that, yes, they are the only ones who can become a perfect role model for their children, and their child would look at them and they would imitate the way they speak. So I don't see too many people watching me, so I am simply going to share with you the information about how people learn to speak. This is the most important part of this class. I'm going to just show to you the picture how people learn to speak. And of course, all people learn to speak when they are very young. A child is born not knowing anything. We are born with an empty memory, don't know much. We are born with a perfect body, but we still don't know how to use this body for producing words with accuracy, with ease, with pleasure. We still don't know that. But after a child is born, after a child is born, the child begins to observe the world around. The baby is watching mommy and daddy and beginning to imitate what mommy and daddy are doing. This is the natural law of resonance. This is happening naturally. If your child can hear and can see, it means that your child can learn to speak perfectly without even one mistake. A child can learn. But in order for a baby to learn, the baby needs the model. The baby needs something to imitate. And unfortunately, there are a lot of parents who don't even know how to speak without making mistakes themselves. And too many people today, too many parents today, unfortunately, model not a perfect way of speaking. Unfortunately, this is the case. And when a child hears mommy or daddy speaking and making mistakes in words, guess what the child is learning? The child is learning to imitate this kind of incorrect speech. But the parents are not aware of that. Sometimes children don't, sometimes children stop imitating parents for various reasons. I'll give you just a few reasons. Reason number one, when a child wants to communicate with his or her parent, but the parent is angry, the parent is tired and begins screaming at a child and asking the child to be quiet. So when a child is scared of a parent, of course, he stops looking at the parent's mouth. He stops. He's afraid to even look at the parent. But this is where speech is coming from. It's coming from our mouth, from here. So if you want your child to learn to speak, your child must learn at your mouth. Must. But if you are not speaking nicely to your child, if your child no longer loves you, scares of even looking at your mouth, your child will never learn how to speak correctly. This is why when my students are adults with little children, the first thing I do, I teach parents how to become role models for their child. This is number one necessity. I teach parents to speak well so they could continue transferring these skills to their child. When they become perfect model for their child, they no longer need anybody. They don't need to take their child elsewhere, not to speech therapists, not to some other advisors, not to even back to me, because they know what to do with their child. They know how to help their child. This is very, very important. But let me take you back to the speech therapist office. What happens there? You take your child to a speech therapy session. Where are you at the moment when speech therapy is taking place? Are you there in the room with the speech therapist? No. You are sitting somewhere in the waiting room. You let the speech therapist entertain your child, do something you don't even know what. And you frankly don't even care what speech therapists do with your child in that room. You just pay for it, or if it's a school speech therapy, the school district is paying to a speech therapist, and you just trust that those specialists know what to do with your child. Unfortunately, this never ever works. If you want your child to fix any mistakes in his speaking, you are the only source of information that the child has naturally. Naturally. Do you understand the word naturally? And if you, the parent of the child, is not involved in teaching your child to speak, it's never going to work. Because whenever speech therapists entertain your child, they never even guarantee. How? They don't guarantee that whatever they are teaching will ever work. They don't. Because here is reality. The system doesn't care whether your child is going to be speaking better or not. They don't really care. As a matter of fact, the system is interested for your child to become a chronically ill individual. They want your child to keep stuttering for the rest of his life. This is why your child is encouraged when he comes to a speech therapy session today. He's being encouraged to accept stuttering, to embrace stuttering, and to truly believe that it's just his uniqueness. When your child speaks in a weird way, when he makes speech mistakes, it's his uniqueness. He has to accept it, and he should advertise his stuttering. He should tell everybody, hey, I stutter, bear with me. And guess what? If you keep your child in speech therapy long enough, if after a child graduates from school and still continues to attend speech therapy, he begins to believe that. He begins to believe that stuttering is great. Stuttering is something that he needs to be proud of. And you know what is it similar to? When you see overweight, sick people coming live on videos, on any video platform, and telling to the whole world, I'm so proud of being overweight. I'm so proud that I have diabetes already, right? I mean, he doesn't say that. But what comes with the territory of being overweight? Your health deteriorates. You become diabetic. You get arthritis. You get all kinds of sicknesses of your body because your body doesn't need so much food. But what do these people do? They sit in front of the camera and they sit and eat food, eating food, a lot of food, to prove that they are proud of being fat, of being ugly, being overweight. Yes, you can convince a person in anything. And this is what the system is doing. The system can convince you in anything. And this is what the system is doing to your baby, to your child in speech therapy, because speech therapists are specialists trained by the system. So when your child comes to speech therapist, in the beginning, everyone is happy. For parents, it's free. Parents don't need to do anything. Parents don't get any tasks. Parents can play video games on the computer. Parents don't need to do anything. And the child doesn't need to do anything. But then speech therapy goes for a year, 2, 3, 10 years. Yup. But the child's speech is not becoming any better. The child continues to hide from speaking. Now, when a child is a teenager, he wants to have friends, he wants to communicate with other children, he wants to be accepted by other children, but he can't. Hey, Terrence, thank you for joining. Cool. Okay. So, but when the child is not capable of speaking, when other children are speaking, they're not afraid, they are blah, 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 talking nonstop, but the child is afraid of his mistakes. He cannot communicate with his peers. He cannot get in touch with his classmates because he cannot speak. This is the time when the child may become withdrawn from life. He doesn't want to even go to social gatherings. He begins missing out whatever life gives him. This is why I am so much into teaching, not as much adults. Of course, this is most of the case because adults already work, adults have the funds to pay for their education. But my dream is to begin educating mommy and daddy, the parents. Come to me, step in my classroom. I will simply explain to you how you can become a role model for your child. Why the child is no longer looking at you, why the child is not learning from you. As I said, there could be many, many reasons. Our children in today's crazy world, children even see when their parents fight. Of course, they are afraid of looking at their parents. They are no longer looking at mommy, looking at daddy. Children want to kind of be in the, they don't want to be in the middle. They don't want to take sides of mommy or daddy. They love their mommy, they love their daddy, but they children is afraid, a child is afraid of looking at mommy or at daddy because he doesn't want to appear as if he is on the side of one of the parent. He loves both parents. But after seeing parents fight, hitting each other, screaming at each other, a child stops looking at the parents. And that's where stuttering takes place because a child no longer has a model to imitate after. This is extremely important If you want your children to speak like you gotta make sure that the child is observing the way you're speaking, the way you are moving your one part of the body that is responsible for creating words. It is our tongue, our tongue. And dear parents of children who stutter, I'm talking to you today. Whenever you are training your child to write, where you are paying attention to what part of a child's body? His hand, right? So you give to your child a pen or a pencil, and the child begins to moving his hand to write letters, right? Exactly the same you need to do with your child when he learns to speak. But children don't speak with their hands. Children speak with their tongue. This is why it's so important. Learn, learn how to become a perfect speech model for your child. So a child could see and hear what you are doing when you are speaking. This is extremely simple. And of course, this is the only natural way explaining to a child how to live stutter-free. And when you, mommy or daddy or grandmother or grandfather, it doesn't matter who, understands how we people, we family members teach our children to speak, we become models for our child, and the child can begin easily imitating. Imitating. Imitation is, this is the reason I have these guys behind me. You see? You see them? Parrots talking. This is the only way how people learn to speak. That's it. Okay, I don't see any questions today at all. I don't know what day is better to come live, but I've been live already for over half an hour. I still haven't received even one question. So, dear people who stutter, I come live once a week. I do it, all my best to do it once a week, mostly on Saturdays, sometimes on Sundays, sometimes on Fridays. But I don't see any more people interested in learning. So this is why the only place that is still working well is TikTok. I don't know what's going on in today's digital world. TikTok is really, really good, but when you are on TikTok, you can't teach. You can't give a lesson. The lesson should be 30 seconds, not more. So those of you who are watching this in the recorded way, I truly encourage to come to my next lesson and prepare your questions, because I do have answers for each and every question about speech and stuttering, and how any parent can teach the child to speak perfectly and even better than other children. But in order to do so, you, parents of a child, would have to be prepared that you need to leave the systemic places of help. You need to leave those places. Stop taking your child to speech therapists. Stop taking your child to any kinds of a doctor. Stop right away. Your child doesn't need medication for attention deficit. Your child doesn't need to take drugs For sure, it's not going to help your child. Stop poisoning your child with medical drugs, medical devices. Stop right away. The only way you can help your child to never stutter again is to learn yourself, to train yourself how to become a role model for your child, how to teach your child to speak well. Right now, you don't know that. You're not aware of that because you cannot find this information anywhere in the world. Nowhere. No one on this planet shares this information of how naturally and very quickly stop your child's struggle with speaking and encourage your child to speak a lot and fall in love with communication with your child's friends. And when a child grows up, of course, getting a job where the child can begin making good money of doing the speaking job. Okay, so no more questions. So at the end of this short presentation, let me tell you what I encourage you to do. I encourage you, number one, of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel and keep watching thousands, maybe not thousands yet, but hundreds of video testimonials of my students. All of them used to be in the system, but they all left the system. They all did. And today, all of them enjoy their stutter-free lives. All of them, no exception. Okay? So I encourage you to go to livestutterfree.com, and I encourage you to register for the free webinar, which is called Live Stutter Free, of course, which is the webinar about the 4 steps to a stutter-free life. I encourage you to watch the webinar and then make an appointment for so far a free consultation with me for about half an hour to an hour. I give my time freely to you, to parents of a child who stutters. I am getting ready to launch a new website and begin the whole new paradigm. Okay? I want to focus only on families with children who stutter. Okay? This is my dream, and this is what I want to focus on for as long as I'm still going on here live. Okay, livestutterfree.com. Join me, watch the webinar, and see you soon. Bye-bye.